Hi, thanks everybody. Obviously late in the day, but hopefully we can excite you with what's going on for Cobalt in Uganda. So very quickly, just take you through what we're looking to do. Two key themes for us. We're looking for large-scale, world-class opportunities. The two key themes, we need new supplies of cobalt, and people are looking for non-DRC cobalt. So what we did is we looked around the world and we kept concluding that East Africa is the best place on the planet for cobalt for a reason. So we ended up locking up a bunch of acreage next door and on trend to the DRC in Uganda, which we believe is a lot more favorable and a great jurisdiction to be doing business. We own 2,400 square kilometers of land. We've just completed a very successful Phase 1 work program which identified 3 distinct styles of mineralization, and we've launched our initial drill program. Very quickly, we have a very strong senior management and board who've funded and advanced projects globally. We also have a team headed by Dr. Jennifer Hinton in country. She was placed into Uganda by the World Bank 13 years ago, stayed there, saw the opportunity and locked up the prime assets in the country, which we now have within N2 Cobalt. Just give you a little bit of background. We just launched our drilling program last week, and so this gives you a sense of what we're doing, the terrain, and what Uganda is like. Obviously a major milestone for us. I won't dwell on this. Obviously, you've seen lots of predictions of where demand and supply is going. We face a real crunch on the supply of cobalt from 2020 onwards, and that's what we're trying to help fill. On the East African side, why East Africa? This is the Great Rift Valley. We're surrounded by the DRC, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, South Sudan, and Ethiopia. And you can just see the dominance with the DRC and some in Zambia in terms of global cobalt production. And this one just focuses in on the amazing mines that you see in the vicinity. Uganda, for historic reasons, is largely underexplored. This is our asset base. We are to the north and south of the former Kalembe mine, which I'll talk about in a second, and we also have a large amount of acreage in the middle of the country around former artisanal gold mining, but in an area ranked very highly by the World Bank for copper and cobalt. So this was the Kalembe mine. It was run by Falconbridge between 56 and 77, produced the highest grades of copper in the world at the time. They weren't looking for it then, but the cobalt was the byproduct. They produced roughly 25,000 tons of cobalt over a 21-year life. It's a VMS-style deposit. So for us, what we're looking to do across our acreage is to find similar-sized deposits to the Kalembe mine. And we're using latest technology. We're using VTEM and magnetics and electromagnetics. And we've identified some amazing targets. And this is where we've actually started to drill. This is where you saw that drill is on this major conductor here, where we found very strong VTEM and electromagnetic and geochemistry. So we've launched that program, initial 2,000 meters. We will then move the drill over to our next area, where we're actually finding 2 different styles of mineralization. A Katanga-style regional play is evolving, where we're finding very high levels of cobalt on the surface and copper, and we just keep expanding this area. And again, this is our plan would be to also drill this later in the fall to show what the mineralization is at depth. And finally, on our asset side, we also have a large nickel cobalt anomaly. It's an ultramafic style of mineralization. It was identified by the World Bank. We've built on that. Did a lot of trenching here and found widespread mineralization. So the goal again will be to put several holes in here and test this as well. So we will have a program on the drilling side of roughly 5,000 to 6,000 meters in total to test our acreage, come up with a couple of key targets, which will then move into resource drilling. So where do we sit in our peer group? This chart's not to scale, but it obviously shows as companies start to drill and bring on resources, you can see the re-rating in the stock. We would point out that against all these peers, we have far and away the biggest land package. We're also hunting elephants. As I mentioned, Kalembe mine produced 25,000 tons of cobalt when they weren't looking for it. In the whole history of the cobalt camp in Ontario, they produced 25 tons. So it just shows the scale of what we're looking for and why we think we are the guys that can really make a meaningful difference to world supply. And finally, I'll just give you a little snapshot of our structure. 63 million shares out. We brought the Uganda assets into the company in January. Went out to raise 5 million, raised 8.5 at 50 cents. We thought it was good value then. Based on the work we've done, we think it's extremely good value at 25 cents. 50% of the stock is still owned by management board, insiders, and associates, and we all signed a voluntary 3-year lockup. So the whole management team is aligned over a 3-year period to drive this to success. We have roughly $3 million on the balance sheet today, and as I say, we've launched our initial drill program. We will look to add a couple of $1 million here over the next little while to make sure we have the full capital we need for our initial drill program, and then again look to raise additional capital for resource drilling next year. So just to conclude, we think it's a highly unique package. Same geology as the DRC, but not the DRC. We've had amazing initial discoveries, and Uganda for us has been a great place to work. It's been a mining-friendly jurisdiction and very pro-West and looking for investment. And we believe that having a strong management team at the corporate level and on the ground is critical for success. Thank you very much.